Right, hello lads and lasses, and welcome back to Boys Down Under, where today I have the question that, if it can be answered, will solve all of humanity's problems. It will end world hunger. And that is, who are the two centre-backs that should start for Celtic Football Club? Before we get into the video though, please remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel. But without further ado, let's get into it. So, as we're all aware, Christopher Jullien is set to return for Celtic in the upcoming matches. When specifically may that be, I'm not sure. Could be as early as the St Johnstone match or as late as Halloween against Livingston. It could even be further back if issues arise. Nonetheless, Ange has a huge decision to make regarding who the two starting centre-backs should be. And originally, before the second international break, which was the most recent one, it was going to be Carl Starfelt. Every Celtic fan could see it. Every Celtic fan knew it. It was going to be a partnership between Christopher Jullien and Cameron Carter-Vickers to see us out to the end of the season. And it was going to be the ideal Batman and Robin, one extremely tall, a bit lanky, the other extremely short, but built like a brick shithouse. That was how it was going to go. But since the return of club football, Celtic fans, including myself, have not been so sure on this. Some are even saying Carter-Vickers should be the one replaced, and some are even saying that Jullien doesn't deserve to walk back into the team and it should stay as Carter-Vickers and a Starfelt as the two centre-backs. But I think the best way to go about this is to, look at each player individually, then look at the partnerships and make a decision based on that and see which one seems the most liable for Celtic. So, introducing the challenger, weighing in at 180 pounds standing at 6'5", it is Christopher Jullien. Did I make that sound like a boxing intro on purpose or a WWE intro? Of course I did, but we'll move on into the nitty-gritty anyways. Right, since his arrival in 2019, Jullien has played a total of 5,341 minutes in a total of 61 games for Celtic. But he has had such a poor run of injuries, that number could be pretty much doubled by this point. But in those 61 games, he scored a total of 10 goals for the club, 2 of which were so important. The header against Lazio at Celtic Park, and then the all-important winner in the Scottish League Cup final, which has pretty much turned Jullien into a cult hero at Celtic. Well, for me at least, I'm not sure about you lot, but in those 61 games across all competitions, when Jullien has been in the starting team, a clean sheet was kept 27 times. And surprisingly, in the 2019 and 2020 season, he kept a clean sheet 20 times out of 47 matches. So that's like a bit less than 50%. It's like 40%. No, 45%, sorry. And then in the 2020-21 season, he only played 14 matches but kept 7 clean sheets. So that is a total of 50%. So it does show improvement. Considering how poor last season was, he's done very well in a very poor Celtic team. And the big plus for Jullien is his height. We all know that. He's 6'5", which just makes him a huge danger from corners and other set pieces. But also, defensively from corners, he's just able to mark out the opposition's target man. So when we do come up against teams who have really tall and strong centre-backs, Jullien can take one of them, while the other centre-back will be able to take the other, and it hugely reduces the risk of conceding from a set piece, which we all know and hate happening. But on the ground, Jullien is prone to being a bit flimsy at times. He isn't a Virgil van Dijk who is so sound on the ground. He will just absolutely level anyone who runs at him, and also very good in the air. He's just a bit taller than Van Dijk, and he's a bit skinnier, which makes him a bit flimsier on the ground. But he does make up for it with his aerial qualities, and it's something Celtic have been lacking recently. Height. It's obvious to everyone who watches Celtic play. But into the second position, and that is second option, and that is Cameron Carter-Vickers. Now, CCV arrived at Celtic legitimately in the final hour of deadline day of the August transfer window, summer transfer window, winter transfer window, wherever you are in the world. Now, he arrived on loan for the season and with the option to buy, and rumours have came out of Celtic wanting to trigger that option really soon. Regardless, on his debut match, he opened the scoring against Ross County, which led to a 3-0 win, and it broke the deadlock in around the 65th minute. I think it was maybe even a bit later than that. But he has impressed the whole of Celtic the whole Celtic community with his sheer physicality in defence. He is built like a brick shithouse and he plays like one too. He is a no-nonsense defender and has played every minute of every match that he's been in a part of this season. So that's 810 minutes in 9 appearances. Now, in those 9 appearances, Celtic have kept 4 clean sheets, and the 5 which we didn't keep clean sheets were the 2 matches in the Europa League, Leverkusen and Real Betis, but they're also the Livingston game, Dundee United game, which honestly, Carter-Vickers was not at fault for either of those goals. So we can excuse him for not having a perfect clean sheet record. But nonetheless, Carter-Vickers his form has been so solid since his arrival at Celtic. He hasn't had a bad game, I guess you could say. And he's settled to Scottish football extremely well. Like, I can't fault him. He's probably gotten, like, if I were to rate his performance in every single match, he'd probably get a 7 or higher in every single match, which is really, really good for someone who's played English football for the whole of his life. And he's certainly no aerial threat, but unlike Jullien, he makes up for it on the ground. It's pretty quite contrary to him. He's just an absolute unit, and there's not much more you can say about him. He's also so much so a workhorse in defence. He will track back very well if he gets caught out in the centre-back spot. But that's not to say anyone else is, but it's just very noticeable in his gameplay and style. Now, finally, and into the third and final option for Celtic, and that is of Carl Starfelt. Now, good old Starfelt, he arrived at Celtic for £5 million, and early on, a lot of people believed he was a delayed Neil Lennon signing. But in recent games, he very well could have been a true Ange Postecoglou signing. If that has confused you a lot, you get what I mean. He seemed shit at first, but he's starting to become very, very good. It's my little analogy. Now, Starfelt arguably has actually been the better of the 2 centre-backs in the last 2 games since the end of the international break. He's just hasn't put a foot wrong, and neither has Carter-Vickers, but Starfelt just looks the better of the 2 defensively. Like, he's just looks so physically sound going into challenges, winning, like, every second challenge, Starfelt was in there and would crunch the defender against Ferencváros. And he's put a real strong case forward to stay in this Celtic squad for the foreseeable future. And the funny thing about Starfelt is that he's kind of the midpoint between Jullien and Carter-Vickers. You know, Jullien is 6'5", Carter-Vickers is 6 foot, Starfelt is 6'2". You know, he's kind of the mid-range between the 2. You've got Jullien, who's a bit flimsy, and then, not flimsy, but a bit lanky, and then you've got Carter-Vickers, who's built like a brick shithouse. Starfelt, he's in the midpoint. He's built, but he's not overly bodybuilder looking, or he's not lanky looking. He's the midpoint between Jullien and Carter-Vickers. And he isn't the most dangerous in the air, but he's sound, and he isn't the most physical presence on the ground, but he's very, very sound. Now, the issue with this is that Celtic can only play with 2 centre-backs. And there are 3 possible combos. You've got Starfelt and Jullien, Starfelt and Carter-Vickers, or Jullien and Carter-Vickers. Each of these options is really, really viable, and I honestly can see Celtic playing each 3. It would just, I don't know what to think. Now, if Jullien was to get his spot automatically back in the side, it means that the partnership that has been developing and growing between Cameron Carter-Vickers and Carl Starfelt, and even with Joe Hart behind them and the players around him, it would kind of be lost and go to waste to an extent. But at the same time, I feel it's just so harsh to take Carter-Vickers or Starfelt out of this squad when literally they're both playing so well. And I know I should give you guys a straight answer here of what I feel Celtic should play, but I legitimately can't. It's been playing on my mind since the end of this full time against Ferencváros. I can't decide who I want as the 2 centre-backs. I want Jullien in this squad so bad, but I don't want to disrupt what's building between Starfelt and Carter-Vickers. Do you guys get what I'm saying? Because it's driving me insane, this. Like, it's so hard. Literally, and like, I want to hear what you guys think about this centre-back conundrum, because I can't solve it. And I hope you guys will have your opinions on it, but I literally can't think of what I want. Like, And I don't want to play three at the back. That's the only other option. I don't want to play three at the back because it just goes against Ange ball, and we need those two fullbacks to overlap and to track back in defense. Yeah, look, it's a conundrum, and I honestly hope that it's a conundrum which Ange can solve, because honestly, if I was in his position right now, it would be giving me an absolute headache. I know it would be the least of his worries, but still, it would be giving me an absolute headache trying to figure this out. Because I don't know what the solution is. Do you go with someone who's really tall and someone who's really short? Like, they contradict each other, but that's just how well they could play together. You have a really tall person, a bit lanky, a really short person. Well, not really short, but a really physical brick shithouse sort of player. Favorite saying is built like a brick shithouse. Or do you go for like the true and tested program between Starfelt and Carter-Vickers? Or do you try it Jullien and Starfelt? Something that I wouldn't mind seeing either. It's really hard, and honestly, Ange Postecoglou, I feel for you, because you got to make this decision, and it's not going to be an easy one, and whatever decision you make on it, it's always going to be controversial, because there's always going to be people who believe otherwise. But that is all from me. So leave what you think should be the partnership in the comments below. And does Jullien deserve to walk back into the squad, or does he have to earn his spot back? Who knows? It's up to you guys to decide. Remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and so until next time, hail, hail.